nervous because I'm here now.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell here with Glenn Martin, and we're going to talk about Glenn's favorite subject this morning. That's right, the guy over my shoulder, Antonio Brown. Glenn, I think this is the fourth time we're going to be talking to Antonio Brown, the potential of him talking about the Ravens, based on John Harbaugh's comments yesterday. But why don't you just tell us how you're feeling about this situation?
I'm so tired of talking about this. It won't go away. I mean, you said this is our fourth video, and I think you're right when it's just dedicated to this topic. But we've talked about this topic in many videos. I just don't see how the Ravens bring a guy in that has this much looming over his head, from outside of football. He's got all this criminal issue and civil issues that are going on that still haven't been settled yet. So he still hasn't been cleared by the commissioner to return to football. We don't even know what his suspension will be. And that's not even, that's putting aside the obvious change that the Ravens made since the Ray Rice issue, that they're steering clear of guys with any type of issues, especially when they relate to domestic violence or any violence against women. And that's what a lot of these accusations against Antonio Brown are. So I just don't think there's any chance that the Ravens organization would be willing to bring a guy like him in. It goes contrary to everything we've seen from the draft, from free agency. I mean, look who they're bringing in. They're bringing in, man of the year guys like Calais Campbell, and in their draft. They're bringing all captains in. They're bringing in all leaders in, guys that are. So to me, I just don't see the risk reward. I don't see it really paying off because, he is another year older. He did have very little time on the field last season when he did play. I know he's still got a lot of talent, but I don't want to see him in a Baltimore Ravens uniform, mainly because of the locker room issues. And people can say what they want, but one disgruntled guy, if that voice is strong enough, not that he can destroy the whole locker room, but he could certainly take maybe a few players on his side if he got into maybe a on-the-field altercation with the coach, which would not be outside of his character. He got into an on-the-field altercation with a GM in Oakland with Mike Mayock and had to be restrained by his teammates. So I just could see in a situation where he gets into it on the field, on the practice field with a coach. Might not be Harbaugh, might be a position coach, might be a coordinator. And then maybe one or two players are like, you know what, I'm on Antonio's side here. And then that's all it takes is to start splintering and dividing the team. So no, I don't want it. We had the number one offense last year with the worst receiving core in the league. So obviously that's not a necessity to have a great offense. And I have confidence in Marquise, his cousin, that he's going to develop into closer to that number one that we're envisioning. We don't need him. Let's move on.
Well, I'll tell you what, not that I disagree with you. I think that we should move on. This is the only thing I will say is that I never had much confidence that they were taking it seriously until John's comments the other day. And that's, what sparked this conversation, as Lamar said, he was hoping that he would join the team, and that he's still hoping a little bit that he would join the team. And then they asked John about that, and he said, of course, he respects Lamar's feelings and comments and opinion and things like that. But they said, we're looking at every guy. However, I don't even think that Antonio is available right now until, all the dust settles. Sometimes John likes to send messages to people through the media, and this could be a way of him saying, hey, NFL, we have some interest, but we need to know what's going on, right? We need to know what the facts are. We need to know what it's going to look like if we bring this guy in. And so that's what it made me think of immediately, that they've had serious conversations about it. But like you said, he has so many things looming over his head, and there's so many moving parts to him outside of football that I really think that if it was just about football, I think that, I don't know, this is the first time based on John's response that I thought, you know what, I think John would be okay. I think he would feel confident in his team and in his coaching staff to say, if it's just football that we have to deal with, not the other stuff, then I'm okay. And I don't know what it was about that response that changed my opinion. Maybe it was just the way that I feel like John has history of sending a message to people through the media, and I kind of thought about that. But I don't disagree with you that we don't need him. We're not hard pressed for another, we're not hard pressed for another receiver. There are still other guys on the free agent wire. Like if we really want to go out there and get somebody, I mean, if you're talking about guys with checkered past, even guys like Josh Gordon, eventually, I'm assuming will be reinstated. And there's a
his
number
checker
of
pass is
so
much
different.
different than
Right.
Antonio's. Yeah.
So different. So, and he's more of a big body, big body guy that we're looking for, right? I mean, not that Antonio's not a playmaker. Obviously, he's a playmaker, period, no matter what his size is. But anyway, I mean, I think that there's a number of other options out there. Not saying they're as good as Antonio Brown, but would be a net positive for the locker room while also contributing on the field, which is a big deal based on where we're at now. So
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. However, I am taking it more seriously based on Lamar's push publicly. Lamar is not like steering away from it. He just
he's not, but at the same time, it's clearly media driven. I mean,
Yeah.
What's he going to do if he's asked the question? He's going to what else could he say other than what he said? That, yeah, I'd like the guy on his team. I mean, one of his good friends, if not his best friend on the team, is Antonio's cousin. So if he was to go and answer that question in a way like, nah, I don't really want the guy, that may rub Marquise the wrong way. Or Lamar himself may have gained a friendship with Antonio through training in the offseason and wouldn't want to insult the guy. Maybe they became friendly. So maybe his answer isn't necessarily, if the same answer we'd have if we gave him some truth serum. Maybe he's just being a nice guy because that's just who Lamar is. He's the nicest guy, the nicest superstar that I could ever remember. But as far as John's comments, I see your point that it could be him sending a message to the commissioner like, look, let's make your mind up. Tell us what the penalty is so we can make a educated decision on whether or not we want to bring this guy in. But at the same time, you could also read those comments as John not wanting to give a real answer. And this is his way of kind of coach speaking, his way around giving a real answer. Like, wait a minute, is that guy even available? I mean, I could see that being a way of just not answering the question because just look at John's makeup. It's from what his makeup as a person. Antonio to me just does not fit that makeup. It just doesn't. I mean, he's
no.
And anybody who's kind of thinking, man, how bad is this? All this stuff. That just do a quick Google search on what his history is in the last 2 to 3 years, and it's a laundry list of bad decisions, and not just bad decisions, but ones that he voluntarily puts on social media for the world to see and to share. So it's not even like it's hidden well. I mean, it's right out there. And just please just Google it and look and just tell me, do you think this is a guy that would fit in our locker room and that would go along with the culture that they're building in Baltimore? I mean, I just don't think it would. And then we can talk about contractually. I mean, people can say, yeah, let's get him on an incentive-laden deal where we can cut him and no harm, no foul. Well, yeah, but we have $7.4 million in cap space. You have to leave some in the event of an injury. So you have to leave some just in case, the what if. So that takes at least $2 million of that, I'd say, away. So you're down to a little under $5.5 million. Even if you put an incentive-based contract together, do you think Antonio is going to be happy with the maximum of $5.5 million going into his pocket this year? I mean, unless they figure out a long-term contract where they can kind of divide a signing bonus up over years, which I doubt they're going to be doing a long-term deal with the guy. If they do a short deal, even with incentives, I don't see him being willing to play for that low of money. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I'm with you too. And then on top of that, I don't think there'll be any signing bonus based on the fact that he's taken the Raiders and the Patriots to court because of the sign-on bonus, right? Like they're not about that. I think the Patriots just had to pay out $5 million.
And that's a deal because they signed him for more, right?
Yeah, and I think the sign-on bonus for him was $9 million. And so I think that teams are going to steer clear of that. One comical note here is that our boy Ryan Grant is on the free agency wire, folks.
Ooh.
So glad we didn't commit to that long-term deal that had some physical issues.
Yeah, almost did. But you know what, though? I have a lot of confidence in the young guys.
Yeah.
Here in Baltimore. And I feel like Hollywood is going to make an incredible leap from year 1 to 2. I feel like Boykin can make, he doesn't need to make that incredible leap. If Marquise does, the rest of the guys can kind of fall into place. We're just really missing that big time number 1. And if Marquise can fill that role, then the other guys will fall in and be just fine. I mean, I don't think anybody worries about Duvernay in the slot. I think he's going to be just fine. And if he's not, Willie Snead's there. So there's guys there. We just are missing the number 1 guy, but Marquise could be that guy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you as well. So, while this is always a hot topic and a lightning bolt for a lot of people, we want to get your guys' opinions. Like I said, I mean, just to contextualize it, I feel like I agree with you, Glenn. However, I do think that there's some actual momentum behind this thing more than I ever thought. I always thought it was, like you said, it is media-driven, but I do think the Ravens have taken semi-serious consideration into this. Glenn, as you said, it's a tired rhetoric. Like, we're done with it. You are especially done with it. But you guys let us know your thoughts. Let us know whether or not you think that Antonio is worth the risk. And when you do so, like Glenn said, consider the cap, right? Let us know how we can make this work. If it's something that you're really pushing for, and make sure to subscribe, give us a like. We'll talk to you guys soon, and we're out.
See you.